a presentation about irrigation to combat desertification. Dr. Bahman.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I would like to reveal a secret with you. For the last 30 years, I've been giving presentations in different parts of the world representing Kuwaiti Fund. But this is the first time in my life I give a presentation at this time, usually before 12 o'clock. My brain, my stomach are geared to that one. But now, really, I am not me, because, you know, like my mechanical function of the brain and are really, because this time I never give a presentation. But anyway, because this is part of the changes. So I represent Kuwait Fund as agricultural advisor, been with Kuwait Fund for almost 32 years, and been in different parts of the world, and gained many experience, but I am not an expert. I am still a student learning. So how can I use this? Okay. So I am focusing on the agriculture as part of the, as you said, maybe you heard this one. When irrigation starts, civilization begins. Thousands of years ago. Without irrigation or without agriculture, we wouldn't be here. So the agricultural activities of Kuwait Fund, this is the main key for food security. Okay, I cannot see here. Okay, most of the countries we deal with, 60 to 80% of the population work in the agricultural sector. So there are many subsectors, but mainly irrigation, which makes 90% of our activities. And the rest are other: animal production, agro-processing, range management, land reclamation, animal diseases, and others. This is our geographical distribution of the agri projects, mainly in the Arab countries, because since we were established in 1961, we started with the Arab countries for the first 15 years as Kuwait Fund. So that's why the percentage is very high, 57%. But then we went and expanded to different parts of the world. In Africa, and Latin America, and Central Asia, we are almost everywhere. We are a small bird with big and wide wings everywhere. Other sectors also help the agricultural sector: transportation, energy, industry, water supply, and sanitation. They are related. Some directly or indirectly support the agricultural projects. So we have, our loans are called concessional loans. Concessional means easy or soft loans. These are very attractive numbers. Our interest rates for agricultural projects between 1 to 3% of the loan. A maturity period 20 to 25 years. A grace period 4 to 6 years. A grant elements 50 to 80%. Maybe some of you don't understand these figures. Let's go to the last one. If the government wants to take a loan from a bank, commercial bank, he has to pay this much. But from us, he will save this much. Irrigated agriculture. Sorry, ma'am, I have to be here. So irrigation is a combination between the science of agronomy and civil engineering. And also irrigation nowadays in different parts of the third world becoming a need, a necessity. But it costs lots of money to build dams or the infrastructures. Here where Kuwaiti Fund and others come to help those governments. So we have many projects. We have mega projects, we have small projects, we are medium projects, but I gave some examples. The one we have, like I'm proud to be part of this project, called Ningxia Integrated Rural Development. It was in China. It was near the Mongolian area. And our project is already done. If you go there, it's a different life. 130,000 hectares. And to settle over 700,000 people, poor ones, for the purpose of increasing food security, food production for the sake of food security and increasing the forest cover. Because it used to be 5% the land was covered with vegetation, now is over 30%, in the next 20 years will be over 70%. And also we have another one in Egypt. It is ongoing project for the last almost 20 years in the Sinai Desert for 168,000 hectares. And this project is to observe 1 million people from the cities to be in the desert and do the economical work, farming, and other industry. And these are the benefits of the project. And the method is we are mixing the Nile River water with the irrigated or agricultural drainage water 1-to-1. Instead of going to waste, we are feeding the desert. Another one in Tajikistan, called Dangara Valley Irrigation, about 6,000 hectares. It is to go for food production and water supply, and it was finished 5 years ago. All those projects, I'm part of it. By the way, excuse me, because the sugar is affecting my speech at this time. That's why I have to. Another one in Mali. This is a smaller project, about 4,000 hectares. We had 3 stages, and I was there before the project. Believe me, they were all poor people. And after the project, you become proud that you are financing this project as Kuwaiti Fund. In Lebanon, still ongoing. It is in South Lebanon, 15,000 hectares, and the beneficiary 400,000 people directly and indirectly. Can I have my water, please, a little bit? Okay, investment cost of developing irrigated land. Shukran. You know, to invest in irrigation is very expensive, and there are many components involved. So sometimes we, as Kuwaiti Fund, with the government on bilateral participation in financing, sometimes, no, it is a huge project. We ask others to join us. So irrigation, nowadays, more than 40% of agricultural produce, the food we are eating, is derived from the irrigated lands. And the irrigated lands occupy almost 20% of the total world arable land, according to FAO. That gives you the importance of irrigation. So in the future, there'll be 9 billion people, and the population by 2050 will reach to that figure. You cannot depend on the forest, on the today's methods. You have to go with the irrigation. Okay, these are, okay. I published 2 papers regarding our experience as Kuwait Fund and international papers, the cost of irrigation. And what happened? Yes, the paper summarizes 45 projects. Most of them I was a member of the team that appraised this project. The data collected from 93 to 20 in the 26 countries. We have more countries, but these are for the sake of the paper, the limited information they need. This is the summary. The cost of the average irrigation is about $5,300 per hectare. This one, for the rehabilitation projects, of course, less. And for the new projects, about 13,000. Goes up and down. The general irrigation methods, this is too technical, I don't want to waste your time. We have the surface irrigation by gravity. Then we have the main methods, basin irrigation, furrow irrigation, flood irrigation, border strip irrigation, other types, sprinklers, localized, and blah, blah. So now, let me stop here for the R&D. Research and development. Kuwait Fund is not a research institute, but for the last 15 years, we've been encouraging this. We support, we finance different organizations or authorities or entities. So the world expenditure on research and development, about $1.9 trillion, including military research, versus total global spending on military, $2.6 trillion. Just to tell you how much we human beings are spending on war, on killing, on tools, you know, on like the war happening around us. But for the research, no, by far less. And the total global spending on wars, I try to calculate, but it is zillions, you know, you cannot. Even just right now in Ukraine and Gaza, you know, there are trillions of dollars. How much on research? Nothing. Yeah, our involvement in research includes technology transfers, applied and adaptive research, capacity buildings, examples. We are dealing actively with ICARDA. I think most of you know who ICARDA is. We have these 3 grants. Usually these research, or these contributions are grants, not loans. These are the, after war in Syria, their headquarters was there, then removed. We helped them in establishing 5 offices in different Arab countries. And this is another project enhancing the food security programs in Arab countries. And the last one, improving agricultural production systems and conserving natural resources and the climate change in the Arabian Peninsula, the Gulf area. And we are still ongoing project, this one. Then we have ECBA, which is the International Center for Biosilane Agriculture in Dubai, or in Abu Dhabi. And but this was still, due to some technical problems, is still not moving. AOAD, which is Arab Organization for Agricultural Development, we are helping in the part of the research to fight transboundary animal diseases, part of it the capacity building and epidemiological research, detection and diagnosis. And this is a beautiful one. We just finished it about a few months ago. Desert Research Center in Egypt, which is called the project Bioorganic Farming in North Sinai for vegetables and oil producing crops, For the last 5 years, we've been supporting this program, and it is one of the success stories. With the FAO controlling the desert locust in the central region, part of this research. UN Habitat, somebody mentioned a while ago, this is with for the fighting desert between Kuwait and Iraq. And this is Mr. Isa is here? Abu Ahmed. This is the Abu Dhabi Declaration, Integrated Desert Farming Innovation Platform. Kuwait Fund endorsed such initiative in March 2022. And this is considered world first platform, according to what was announced officially by UAE government. To support countries, the initiative is to support countries in adapting agricultural, social, and economic technologies and innovations, and for, transforming food, nutrition, and water security under climate change through collaborative research for development, include plant genetics, soil management, water use efficiency, sustainable crop livestock integration, linkage to market, and value change. Okay, now this is, I usually give it as a lecture by itself. It is about 20 minutes, but I reduce it into less than 5 minutes, hopefully. Nowadays, we hear about this emission, the global warming, whatever, which I'm not expert in this. And many researchers or speakers blame agriculture, especially rice production, because it's a natural plant that produces CH4, methane. And methane is accused of polluting or one of the major global warming gases, whatever. I have more water. Because of the timing, you know, it's not my time. Yes, I have to adapt to it. So as I said, 80% of Kuwait Fund irrigation projects deal with rice production, because that's what the countries need. We don't tell them, but it is the countries, mainly Africa, Central Asia, Southeast Asia, and Latin America. Everybody wants rice. Rice is the main staple food around the world. So methanogenesis is the formation of CH4 coupled to energy conservation by microbes known as methanogens. I think most of you, they know this equation. So paddy fields, which is the rice fields, what they call paddy. Paddy either is the land itself called paddy, or the rice without dehulling or cleaning is called paddy. There is a clean rice or white rice, and there is paddy. We are talking about the paddy. So the paddy fields, one of the sources, major sources of causing this methane production as a green gas, a greenhouse gas. So according to the literature, 4 to 30% of atmospheric CH4 emission is caused by rice paddies. And methane has 30 times as potent as CH4. The ongoing research right now worldwide, mainly in China, India, Philippines, USA, try to mitigate the production of the methane. It's not my specialty, but this is what, because we are involved as Kuwait Fund in growing rice. Factors affecting methane emission. Irrigation system. As I mentioned before, there are many irrigation systems. Each one is different than others in the influence of producing gas, methane, and others. So we have intermittent irrigation versus continuous flooding. 15% less than flooding. The intermittent produces gas 15% less. These are the result of the Chinese. Furrow irrigation produces less CH4. Drip irrigation, less. Intensification of paddy cultivation increases CH4 emission. Continuous soil aeration produces less CH4. Rice genotype or genetically modified rice plants that emit less CH4, genetic engineering involved, as I said, in Philippines, India, and mainly China. A cropping season versus wet and dry season. The more wet you have, the more CH4 production. The period of flooding, these are the factors, go up and down. Even within the same area, they have different variation. Application of fertilizer, such as urea versus alone nitrogen, it has impact. Climate factors, and there are many. Lesson learned from irrigation projects. These are the lessons I personally learned within the last 30 years, and still to learn more. So farmers, farmers, wherever you go, they have the same philosophy. Land comes first. You as a government come second. You cannot tell me what the scientists tell you. You have to convince me as a farmer. This is their mentality wherever you go. Farmers are willing to convert from traditional rain-fed to irrigation as long as they have access to water and they are convinced. It is essential to establish water user association and farmers group from the beginning. Like most of everywhere we go, to establish a new project, we ask the government and the farmers themselves to have association for their benefits. Important to pay special attention to small farmers, because the small farmers are 80% of the world food producers, small farmers. Of course, the definition of a small farmers differ from region to region. By securing their land tenure and participation in decision-making, emphasis should be given to rehabilitation and upgrading of existing project over a new one. Don't ask me to have finance for a new project while you have old ones. You are not doing anything about it. You have to fix that one, then go to the new ones. Attention should be paid for drainage works to avoid waterlogging and related problems. There are many countries where there is irrigation, especially in the Southeast Asia, they have problem with the waterlogging because they have lots of water, but no method of drainage. The opposite in West Africa, which is a dry area, less rain, they have problem with the water, and also they don't have much problem with the drainage. And because some financiers, they go, okay, we want to do drainage, always drainage, think with it. I mean, irrigation, think drainage. All this in engineering, because this one has different engineering design than irrigation. Yes, apply simple and suitable engineering design to reduce operation and maintenance costs in the future. And the best people in this thing, the simple and the Moroccan. Morocco and Chinese, they are very effective. They are, according to my experience, they are the most efficient people in irrigation project in terms of water usage and wastage. Did I finish? Yes. Thank you, and sorry for my imbalance. of the timing and acclimatization to your time.
Your water, doctor, don't forget. Thank you, Dr. Bahman. Really, it's quite a great asset to have Kuwait Fund, a Kuwaiti organization that it puts its effort and investment in international projects that lead to sustainable development and sustainability all over the world, helping societies and countries in need towards fighting and combating climate change. We have time for a couple of questions for Dr. Bahman. Anybody would like to ask a question?
Thank you, Dr. Bahman, for the thorough presentation. I just want to ask, do you also fund projects within Kuwait? Do you fund similar projects within Kuwait? This is the questions we're looking for.
So, according to our policy as Kuwait Fund and our guidelines, we don't finance directly a project within Kuwait. Usually, you give finance in terms of loans. Loans we give to governments. Okay, but in Kuwait, we cannot give to our government. This is one thing. We have the grants. A grant for, as I said, for some, grants. Also, we don't give it directly to a Kuwaiti entity. For example, their organization. Okay, unless there is an outsider entity as Kuwait Fund to finance a project for the benefit of Kuwait. For example, we have like ICBA, who is the main beneficiary, the direct beneficiary, the PAF, هيئة العمل الزراعي. Yes, we did, but still, due to the managerial problem internally, we didn't spend $1. ICARDA, international organization, as I said, we have 3 grants. The third grant benefit Kuwait directly and the other Gulf countries. The request came from ICARDA, endorsed by PAF. The sandstorm came, the request from UN Habitat to benefit Kuwait, number 1, through our project infrastructure will be in Iraq, but the main beneficiary, of course, the Iraq and Kuwait. And others, this is the way we deal. Who do you represent, for example? Huh?
Kuwait Institute for Scientific Research.
Okay, KISR, for example, now we have a memorandum of understanding with KISR. Any project, or any project, either a loan or a grant that we finance, as long as there is a need for scientific research, we ask to have KISR involved. Now we have this one with the sandstorm, are still ongoing, and with ICBA, KISR is involved, and I think ICARDA. But we always ask that KISR should be involved. We put a request, a condition, and because we know who KISR, who they are. Because we are proud of that. There is something called KISR in Kuwait. And we, as Kuwait Fund, we support KISR, not directly, but through international
and we appreciate your support, Dr. Bahman. Really, your Kuwait Fund and expertise like you, your efforts. And
I'm still learning.
We are all students. We never stop learning, right? Once we start in this field, we never stop. So, I mean, you go ahead, and we are following you in the learning process. So thank you very much for...
Okay.
Okay. Sorry.
Can you tell us, please, what's your failure rate in your project portfolio?
Failure rate. What do you mean by failure rate?
How many projects failed compare versus the successful ones? Or
I do
troubled?
No, I do believe in trials and errors. Sure, about troubles and mistakes.
Yes.
We have over 1,000 something projects since we were established. All of them. Of course, I wasn't there, you know. There are mistakes. There are errors. There are problems.
Yes.
Nothing called 100%
I'm sure.
perfection.
Right.
This is one thing. But what is a failure? Okay, I give a government a project. Implementation is 5 years, for example. Through the 5 years, we appoint consultant with the government. We appoint contractors with the government. We appoint the suppliers from the market and the design. Some problems are delayed.
That's normal.
This is one of the main problems, the delay of a project, not because of Kuwait Fund,
I'm sure.
because the money is there, because we have condition. We don't spend $1 unless there is proof there is a need for it.
Progress.
Yes, progress reports, receipts, the consultant, the government, and all this. That's why Kuwait Fund since 1961, actually 31st of December 1961, till now, you never heard in the media there is. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bahman. Let's all put hands together thanking Dr. Bahman for his presentation and interesting expertise.